Indy, the Brickyard, the racing capital of the world. Whatever name you give it, this is hallowed ground for any driver. And now, for the first time ever, the young stars of Trans Am 2, Trans Am's most competitive class, will race at Indy. The Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge, next. There's no place like it anywhere in racing. Indy, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For the first time ever, playing host to Trans Am presented by Pirelli, America's road racing series. Today, for TA2, it's the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Brickyard. I'm Rick Benjamin. NASCAR star Michael McDowell joins me for the call in a couple of moments. Ashley Van Dyke with our coverage on Pit Road and in Gasoline Alley. For the first time in the 51-year history of Trans Am, the series appearing here at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A very special weekend for everyone connected with Trans Am. For one family in particular, their name's synonymous with this place. Ashley standing by with Adam Andretti.
Well, Rick, Adam Andretti has had this race in his sights all year long. Describe the emotion and what it would mean to add another victory to the Andretti family legacy here at Indy.
Oh, it'd be amazing. I mean, I think the last time an Andretti won here, Marco was in an Indy Lights car. Other than Mario's 1969 famed victory here, we haven't done that. So it would be incredibly special to take this ECC Motorsports Dodge to the front and finish there. Get to take my team to the bricks and kiss them a little bit and get to beat this guy for once. You know, knock him off this top pedestal that he's enjoying so much. Well deserved. But you know, we're all gunning after this kid. He's doing a heck of a job out there out front, and he's going to make our work cut out for us today. You know, he's been very fast all weekend long, and we're starting a little deep in the pack as a qualifying. We didn't get to qualify, and we've had a little bit of a rough year. But ECC Motorsports, Anchor Bolt Screw, NFXF, can't thank all them enough for what we do, and really looking forward to a good run here at Indy. It'd be great to party at home.
Adam Andretti will be starting from the 10th place position on the grid today.
And he will be chasing former series champion Gar Robinson, who will start from the pole. Last time out in Detroit on the streets of Belle Isle, Gar was a dominant winner there, certainly pleasing his dad, George.
Here's my son, Gar Robinson. Very excited about having him start on the pole.
Nothing but smiles here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. George Robinson, former Trans Am competitor, now team owner for his son Gar and for Shane Lewis. Michael McDowell, there is no place like the Speedway.
Absolutely, such a special place. Goosebumps when you drive into that tunnel. It's going to be a great race today.
Trans Am 2 drivers pointing to this one since the event was announced many months ago.
I mean, this track is just incredible. I mean, the opportunity to come here and race at the Brickyard, I mean, it's every racer's dream. So it's my first time here, among many others here in TA2, which has really made it exciting.
Tony Bustamante had an opportunity years ago to come here in an IndyCar and just missed the chance by a little bit. So this race is very important to him as well as the rest of the guys. You know, think about it. Whenever you're born, from the time you're born, if you're a racer, you want to run at Indy.
To run at the Brickyard is, for any driver, a big deal. I mean, you get to run the same places that all the greats have run. So for the Trans Am series to be here for the first time is just, you know, a dream come true for a lot of guys.
Historical significance is not lost on me being Trans Am here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When I first pulled out onto the track for the first time, it really hit me how important it was to be here and how great and special it is to be here at Indy.
No question about it, this is one all the competitors in Trans Am have had circled on their calendars since the schedule was announced back at the start of 2017. Great field of Trans Am 2 entries ready to do battle, Michael McDowell, on the road course here at Indy. 2.4 miles and lots of corners, lots of places you can pass, lots of places you can get in trouble here too.
There's a great mix here on the road course at Indy. You have these long straightaways, heavy brake zones, but it's also very tight technical sections. So your car has to have both. It has to have that straight line speed, but you got to get through that tight, twisty 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see how technical those sections are.
And one of the trickiest parts, I think, is when you come out at 10, you come back up onto the oval, then you've got to make that hard right at 12.
Well, there's a transition. You come up on the banking, onto the apron, and the cars get very unsettled as you get into turn 12.
Strong field of 25 competitors ready to do battle here today. Ashley Van Dyke, who are you watching as we get set to go green?
Guys, you're going to want to keep your eyes on a couple of drivers in today's race. Your top 5, all previous race winners, and all are in contention for the championship. Starting in 10th, Adam Andretti would love to add another win to the Andretti family belt here this weekend. And starting at the back, Shane Lewis. He's been quickest in every session so far this weekend.
Shane sent to the back, though, due to an infraction here. He's got a long way to go to get into contention. 4 races are complete. Gar Robinson is the championship leader by 21 over Dylan McIvern. There's Lewis, who starts last, Robinson's teammate.
Shane Lewis, like we mentioned earlier, fast all weekend long, had a bit of a mishap in qualifying, a little infraction, has to start deep in the field, but it's a long race, a lot of laps, he can get back to the front.
Gar Robinson will start on the pole in the 74. McIvern alongside in the 24. The 2 primary chassis makers in TA2, Mike Cope in that 24 car. The Howe organization, Chaz Howe, he builds the cars for Robinson and for Shane Lewis. Front straightaway at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're glad to have you with us on CBS Sports Network. Looking for a green flag, 100 miles of action, and we are underway. Field really spread out as they come out of turn 14 onto the front stretch, but look at the jailbreak up front, side by side into one.
You got to be very careful entering turn 1, cold tires, cold brakes. You can definitely lose a race getting into this corner.
Adam Andretti in the 44, bold on the outside, trying to gain some ground there. He's picked up a couple of spots.
And you can see the car sliding off the corner, getting lots of wheel spin. Hopefully they can get through these first 3-4 corners.
Whoa! Keith Prochuk in the 9 car, the HP Tuners Chevrolet goes around. Don't know if there was contact there or not, Michael.
A lot of cars fighting for the same spot. You saw 2-3 wide, not enough room for all the cars. We'll hopefully get a replay of it.
Down the backstretch meantime, challenging for the lead. McIvern on the outside of Robinson into the left-hander. Gar Robinson holding on to the top spot by a car length. Prochuk rolled that car to the outside. He is rolling now. Take another look at it.
Just looks like he got in there, cold tires, hard on the brakes. The back end comes around.
Everybody gets around him amazingly. He was in the middle of a traffic jam there.
And that's a tough spot too. You're sitting backwards with the whole field coming by.
Right behind his teammate Lawrence Loshak in the 5 car. Thought he might have gotten up on the rear fender of the 5, but didn't touch him apparently.
If there was contact, it was very slight. More than anything, just hard on the brakes, got the back end loose. No harm, no foul. Obviously, he's lost a lot of track position. It's going to be hard to get back to the front.
Up front, meantime, Robinson and McIvern, 1 and 2. Tony Bustamante was McIvern's teammate in one of those Mike Cope Fords, the Best Line Lubricants car, 3rd. But the top 2 have started to pull away already. We're on board here with McIvern.
McIvern's had a tough season. He's had a lot of speed, but we've seen some bad luck. At Detroit, we saw that rear end brake on him. We've seen him up front, but hasn't got the finishes that he's hoped for this season.
Cameron Lawrence, the 2-time TA2 champion in that red 19 car, the Chevrolet, fighting for 3rd, challenging Bustamante as they hit the backstretch. How about Adam Andretti with that early outside move? He's gotten to 5th here.
He's made up 5 spots in the very early going of this race, making a charge towards the front.
Gar Robinson, the early leader, over McIvern. Running order there at the top of your screen. Early in the going, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge. We'll be right back from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by 3-Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control.
One of the great American road racers, Shane Lewis, has been doing this for a long time at an extremely high level. He has come from the back of the pack, Michael McDowell, to 14th in the first couple of laps.
And this is not surprising at all. We mentioned how much speed that 72 car had early in the practice. Unfortunately, started deep in the field, but he has made short work of it. Up 12 spots already. He's got 4 or 5 more in front of him.
Oh, trouble for the 87 car. That's Doug Peterson, former Trans Am champion, returning to TA2 in his 3-Dimensional Services Chevy. Looks like the left front corner is damaged damaged on that car up front. Still Robinson in the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet, and Dylan McIvern in the 24. A little smoke showing out of the 24 car.
24 is pushing very hard, trying to keep that gap as close as he can to Gar Robinson. But Gar's done such a great job leading laps all year long. He doesn't seem to be phased with pressure.
Talk a little bit, Michael McDowell, about the difference between a place like the road course here at Indy and Belle Isle, where we were a couple of weeks ago in Detroit. This is a big, wide open, flat asphalt racetrack as we're on board on the front stretch with McIvern.
Well, you still have concrete on both sides here, as you can see, but Detroit, much more narrow, very tight, technical, not a lot of grip. You see this asphalt here, a lot of grip. The cars have lots of load, lots of speed down the straightaway, hard on the brakes. It is a very different racetrack. It's like going to a street fight.
Peterson, meantime, let's have a look at what happened to the 87 car. Awesome contact there. One of the Fords in the field cutting across the left front fender of the 87 car, causing perhaps a little damage. In fact, a lot of damage. Part of that bodywork is gone from the race car. Here's Shane Lewis, meantime, at the 72, continuing to climb through the field up to 11th now. So he's picked up 3 more spots in the last lap and a half.
And as he gets closer to the front, it's going to get harder and harder to pass those cars. Once he gets into that top 10, top 8, every time he gets up to a car, it's going to be very, very difficult to make those passes. But he's had so much speed. I don't know if he can catch Gar and Dylan, but maybe he'll have a shot at it.
And Doug Peterson offline and off the pace a little bit here. You can see other cars flying by him. He knows there's damage on the left front of that car. Doug Peterson's been doing this again at a high level for a very long time.
Absolutely. Doug Peterson's a champion in Trans Am. Obviously there, he didn't see the car coming on the inside. Got kind of wiped out there. Not sure if he has a flat or suspension damage. Obviously we see the bodywork damage, but it looks like it's more than cosmetic.
Looked like it was Kurt Vogt out of Wallingford, Connecticut. First timer in Trans Am this season in the blue 23 that went by and may have clipped the 87. Meantime, Shane Lewis closing in there on the 23 of Vogt. Vogt's car showing some smoke as well under brake.
And we talked about how difficult turn 14 is. And the reason that is, you come up onto the banking, but as you're transitioning off of the banking onto the apron to make that hard right-hander 90 degree, that inside tire wants to lock up. It's very easy to do. And you have to be careful with these Pirelli tires. If you get a flat spot, you get a vibration, it could put you in trouble by the end of the race.
Lewis trying to size up Vogt for the pass on the front stretch. There's debris out to driver's left there along the wall. That looks like it could be part of that fender from Peterson's car that may have come flying off as Lewis picks up another position headed into 1. On the backstretch, meantime, his teammate Robinson continuing to lead. McIvern all over the back end of the 74.
And McIvern's closed the gap. He's closed it by 2 car lengths. He's putting the pressure on Gar. And like we mentioned before, when Gar has somebody in his mirror, I think he does the best job of not making mistakes. Very hard to get him into a pressure situation, but Dylan is doing everything he can to keep that heat on him.
Up the short straightaway here, top 2 with a good fight going on, but Peter Klutt has stopped on the racetrack, and the Speedlogic Dodge Challenger gets it refired. Let's get on board on the front side here. Might be mechanical. Not sure what happened to Klutt. We'll try to find out. Meantime, Doug Peterson's been on and off pit road a few times. Down to Ashley.
The 87 Chevrolet Camaro of Doug Peterson has come down the pit lane early in this race. He has left front damage, bodywork repairs happening, and a tire change as the crew is trying to get Doug back out into the race.
Tough to make a car work here, Michael McDowell, with a lot of sheet metal missing.
And with these quick races, sprint format, once you hit pit road, you're really at a tough spot. I don't think he's going to be able to contend for a win today, but hopefully he'll get back on the racetrack.
That is a fast race car. We saw Rafa Matos take that car to second at Detroit a couple of weeks ago. Robinson, meantime, continues as your leader in the 74. McIvern right with him in the 24. If you're Dylan McIvern, do you bide your time and wait for the last 10 miles, the last 4 or 5 laps here?
Well, it really depends on how you feel your car is. If I'm in second and I know that I have the speed to get around Gar, I'm going to pressure him left, right, try to get him to make a mistake, get in his mirrors. But if I'm hanging on for dear life just to try to stay at his bumper, you got to go when you get the opportunity.
Robinson continues to lead at Indy. Familiar face back heavily involved with Trans Am. You'll recognize this guy. He's with Ashley.
Wally Dallenbach has joined the series this year as Chief Steward. We have an exciting TA2 race here at Indy, the inaugural.
Yep.
What should people watch and look out for today?
Well, first of all, it's great to be at Indianapolis. I think a lot of people enjoyed, hearing that it was put on the schedule. This place has got so much history. For me, I practically grew up at this racetrack with my dad running IndyCar. So first of all, it's great to be at Indianapolis. We've got a great TA2 field. The races have been fantastic this year. And, what to watch for, you're going to have these guys going at it pretty hard today. And, it's been a lot of fun watching the races so far. They've been fairly clean, so I'm anxious to get started.
Wally Dallenbach Jr. just out of the driver's seat not very long ago. In fact, ran a couple of races in TA2 a year ago. Great NASCAR driver in the day. Has some IndyCar experience as well. Taking over as our chief steward for Trans Am. Robinson leading McEvoy and Bustamante. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on CBS Sports Network. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell alongside Ashley Van Dyke with our coverage on pit road. Battling in Trans Am 2 for 16th, Sam LeCompte out of Texas. Keith Prochuk, who spun on lap number 1. Ray DeVoe, the team owner of the Class Auto Chevrolets in that fight. On board here in the 9 car with Prochuk, the HP Tuner Chevrolet.
And he's done a great job getting back up through the field. Obviously had speed, qualified near the front, but that first lap spin put him behind.
Running order at the top of your screen, winding down on the clock. We're an hour 15 of time, 42 laps by distance. Great fight here for 5th. Adam Andretti and Lawrence Loshak in the 5 car with that battle raging.
Adam Andretti made short work of those cars in the early stages, but as you can see, when he got closer to that top 5, it's getting harder and harder. Hasn't made that progress that we were hoping to see him get towards the front.
Andretti 5th, Loshak here in 6th. Lawrence Loshak, one of the many drivers of the TA2 paddock, who's a big fan of AEM Infinity, the suppliers of the engine management system that prevails here in Trans Am 2. Before the start, we asked several of the competitors about AEM.
Having AEM on board with their new ECU, I think it just kind of leveled the playing field. Just made everything, more spec, easier to control for Trans Am. Actually taken a little of the worry out of it for the teams because we have, basically spec tunes, nobody's worried about tuning new things, and everything's been running flawless.
I've had fantastic success with AEM. I've won numerous national championships using their computers. I've always been a fan favorite of the AEM system. So I was really happy when they made that transition to have everybody running the same fuel injection system.
We want to create the understanding and impression for people coming into the series that there are no tricks and gimmicks to make these cars go fast. It's about wheeling the deal.
There's a lot of spirited competition in TA2. It's probably the most competitive anything in North America right now. And it was important for Trans Am to come in and get one spec ECU for all the Chevys, all the Fords, all the Dodges. And what it's really done is to clarify that we're all on the same sheet of paper. There was some little things in the beginning, some teething problems, but now, it's just standard procedure amongst all of us, and we think it's a great thing.
Competitors love it, and the teams have embraced the AEM Infinity engine management system here in Trans Am 2. Meantime, Lawrence Loshak has gotten around Adam Andretti as they hit the straightaway here.
And what I love about Lawrence Loshak, you don't see a lot of mistakes out of him. Very smooth, very calculated, always near the front.
Trouble for the other Speed Logic's Dodge. That's Andy Lee driving the 11 car today, Mike.
Yeah, that's a co-worker of mine from the Bondurant School back in the day. He's got a lot of experience driving sports cars, all different types of race cars. Unfortunately, today it looks like he's got a little bit of trouble.
Trouble at the exit of turn 1 as the race leaders approach. Let's get an update from pit road. Downstairs to Ashley.
Rick, I'm down here with the team of the 47 car for Hendrickson. Unfortunately, they just reported that they've dropped a cylinder in that Chevrolet Camaro. The team is over the wall. They took the hood off and have confirmed Hendrickson will not be returning to today's race, Rick.
The ECC team, AJ Hendrickson driving a TA2 car today alongside his regular teammate Adam Andretti. AJ has driven their Trans Am Corvette in recent weeks, especially at Detroit a couple of weeks ago here on CBS Sports Network. Front-running cars on the backstretch. There's Lawrence in 4th in that red 19 car. Loshak now up to 5th in the 5 in front of Adam Andretti. And deeper down the backstretch, here's Shane Lewis. He's going to put another lap on Tim Gray in the 60 car. Lewis is 7th. He might have a shot to get to the top 5.
And it looks like he does. He's got a lot of speed. He's moving his way towards the front.
He's gained 19 positions here. There's your top 5. Gar Robinson still your leader at Indy.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Speedcom Communications. For 20 years, the world leader in motorsports radio and communications systems.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge TA2 in the spotlight today, and trouble for Cameron Lawrence. The Class Auto Center Chevrolet, he was a top 5 car, former champion of the series. Looks like he's had an issue over on the backside of the race course.
And Cameron Lawrence has had such a tough year. He's been fast, but can't seem to get to victory lane.
Into turn 1 here. Let's see what happens. Oh, the car got upset on the rumble strip there.
Yeah, he just got a little bit too much on the curb. It upset the car while he was on the throttle. Just a spin, a mistake there. Obviously, Cameron Lawrence going to be upset with himself.
Lawrence was 4th at the time of the spin. He will get back on the racetrack, but loses a top 5 spot here as we're about 15 laps into this. This is the fight for 14th meet time between LeConte and Keith Prochuk, who spun on lap 1 in the 9 car. What about Shane Lewis in that drive to the front, Ashley Van Dyke? What is his crew saying?
Rick, I've got Ross crew chief for Shane Lewis, who started at the back of the pack and has maneuvered his way up into 6th position. Ross, what is Shane saying about the car?
He has no comment. It's a great car right now. He's picking up some good lap times. That's what he's got to do to hunt down on the guys he's chasing. They're going to get a lot harder to pass now.
He's going to try to make his way to break that top 5 if he can, Rick.
Seems to be headed in that direction. Ross Jeffrey overseeing things for the 72 team. Here's Tom Sheehan in that LTK Insulation Chevrolet out of Bow, New Hampshire. The 97 car up to 8th spot right now. Crew chief, a guy that I've known for a long time, Jamie Obey, 3-time NASCAR North champion, turning the wrenches, overseeing things for Sheehan. Meantime, LeComte goes around in the Texas Tool Traders Chevrolet. He was trying to hang on to 14th there in front of Keith Prochuk. He loses it, gets back on the gas, just loses a little bit of time.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of damage on the front of that car. Not sure if he had some contact. We saw him racing really close with Prochuk. Not sure if they got together.
Take a look at Shane Lewis meantime. Closing in on Adam Andretti as they come up onto the short chute here. Lewis will dive to the inside of the 44 car under braking. Trying to make the pass, he can't get it done.
And both drivers were heads up there. That was a brave move by Shane Lewis. He thought better of it, but Adam Andretti at the same time, give him a little bit of extra room just to make sure there's not contact.
Andretti right in front of the 72 car. We'll see what happens as they come up onto the front stretch here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One of the longest straightaways in Trans Am. The draft definitely a factor here.
It will play in. You can get that slipstream, pull out at the last second. Like you see Shane Lewis, hard on the brakes. He's going to make this move.
Lewis trying to pick up a spot on the inside. Dive bombs into one and closes the deal. Andretti staying right with him, though, trying to come back at him on the outside.
Yeah, didn't want to give that spot up. Adam Andretti fighting hard. Shane Lewis so fast today, was able to get around him. Now, here's the question. There's a big gap you see to Lawrence Loshak. Obviously, he's using up his stuff. He's sliding around. Shane Lewis has been going hard. Can he get to the podium spot all the way from last?
Bustamante in the 34. Loshak to the inside of the 5 car. He'll get around Bustamante for position. Damage to the nose of the Pennzoil Chevrolet. Obviously not a problem as Bustamante gains ground. Meantime, race leader Gar Robinson up onto the short chute here, opening up the advantage over Dylan McIvern.
We saw McIvern very close to Gar early in the stages, but Gar stretched out his lead now, managing this race very well.
Robinson in the 74 car out of San Antonio, Texas. Lives now in the Detroit, Michigan area. Youngster. First couple of years of professional racing, hugely successful. Dad George operates the 74 Ranch Resort team. George, a longtime Trans Am competitor in his own right. Down the front stretch. Gar Robinson all alone out front here. There's the gap back to McIvern. That's a dozen or more car lengths.
And that's what you want to see as the leader. You look back, not a lot of pressure on you. You can just hit your marks, focus on what you have to do, manage the tires, manage your equipment, and make sure that if there is a late race caution, you have enough speed left.
On board here with Tony Bustamante and the Best Line Lubricants for the 34 from Mike Cope's shops. They put a little reinforcement into the front Lexan, the windshield here today, knowing that there'd be a lot of pressure on that bodywork on the long straightaways here at Indy.
Well, we see such high speeds, and that window will flex and it'll vibrate. Obviously not what a driver wants because it's hard to see.
Doug Peterson not liking this either as he brings the 87 back onto pit road with that left front bodywork missing. Car still running, but Doug way down in the standings now, and he shuts the car off. The three-dimensional services group Chevrolet, well, the former Trans Am Series champion. Take a look back at the 72 of Shane Lewis. Loving things here today from 26th up into the top 5 and an opportunity perhaps to get to the podium. Right now sitting in 4th spot, trying to chase down Lawrence Loshak.
Well, he's made this race a lot of fun for us to watch, obviously passing a tremendous amount of cars. But as a driver, it's frustrating too, because you don't always have a race-winning car. And when you do, you want to have the opportunity to win the race. Obviously, Shane starting at the back of the pack made that a real challenge, but he's done a great job managing it.
John Atwell in 10th in the A&J Lab Bordeaux Chevrolet, the 02 car. John, a part-time Trans Am 2 competitor the last several seasons, always represents very well when he comes to the racetrack with that car. Running in front of Matt Parent in the 14 from the Pacific Northwest. Meantime, here is Kurt Vogt in the 23 out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Longtime competitor in the SVRA vintage ranks. Good to have Kurt Vogt with us in Trans Am 2 here at Indy this weekend. Matt Parent goes around in the Venture Ford, the 14 car. Matt, a full-timer in Trans Am 2 his rookie season, gets it back up on the racetrack. And out of the corner, puts a wheel in the grass immediately. Has to get back off the throttle before he finds his way here. And Matt Parent is back underway. On the long front straightaway here at Indy, and a caution. Full course yellow being displayed.
And this is exactly what Gar Robinson did not want to see. He stretched out that lead, but Shane Lewis, his teammate, is jumping in his seat right now. He's going to have a shot at this win.
Safety car coming out on the race course due to debris. Phil Lasco in the 41. That's a former 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet that the team sold to Lasco in the offseason. Lasco doing a nice job here out of Fenton, Michigan today. Race leader is Gar Robinson. McIvern right behind him. Quick break for us. Right back at Indy. Gar Robinson, the championship leader in Trans Am 2, coming in. 2 wins in 4 starts, including our previous broadcast from Detroit. Getting set for a restart at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge. Single file restart. Robinson and McIvern, your top 2, and Lewis, the teammate to the 74 car, breaks to the outside to try to get around Loshak.
Shane Lewis timed that restart perfectly, jumped out of line, already in the 3rd position.
Here's McIvern trying to bust by Robinson and take the lead, and he gets it. Dylan McIvern takes over the top spot for the first time today. Here comes Lewis on the outside of his teammate. Loshak is 4th, Andretti is 5th. Cameron Lawrence back to 6th in the 41, and Phil Lasco has gone around. We talked about him a moment ago. Heavy damage to the nose of the LascoAuto.com Chevrolet. Rookie competitor here in Trans Am. Caution being displayed just after the restart.
And for Gar Robinson, like we mentioned before, this is what he didn't want to see, is that restart. As the leader, you're a sitting duck. Those guys have a great opportunity. Dylan McIvern took advantage of it.
And the contact going down into turn 1. They get 3 and 4 wide. Lasco, one of our Trans Am 2 competitors with not a lot of experience in the series. Kurt Vogt in the contact there as well in the blue 23 car. Let's take a look from onboard Peter Klutz Dodge as he goes to the inside. There's Lasco trying to dive bomb. He locks him up and took out Vogt with the contact.
Obviously got into that corner very, very deep. Was never going to make the corner. Unfortunately, a lot of innocent bystanders right there.
Bustamante on the outside. Now, he's developed some mechanical problems, but you get a little look at the contact there.
And you see the heavy damage as well. That car is tore up.
So we get a full course yellow right after the restart. This will take a while to clean up. We mentioned earlier Tony Bustamante having problems. What's going on with the 34 car? Ashley checking in with his crew chief, Travis Cope.
So right now he just has a clutch issue that we're trying to work with. Nothing we can do on pit road, so we're trying to get him to stay out there. His restart's not going to be very good this time around, but once he gets going, he's running top 5 speed. So after we get through this restart, we're just going to get the 2 in front of him, their lap cars, and keep going with it. See how many we can get before the end of the race.
Tony Bustamante currently sitting 11th, your defending champion.
And with a clutch problem, like you mentioned, the restarts are going to be a challenge. Getting up through the gears, a lot of pressure on that clutch. Hopefully, if he can get it rolling and not lose too many spots, he might be able to salvage a top 5 finish.
Now, you've got a downshift at a place like Indy. How do you manage that without a clutch?
Well, a lot of these guys aren't using the clutches on the downshifts or the upshifts.
Top 5 is McIvern and Robinson ahead of Shane Lewis, Loshak, and Adam Andretti. We'll be back. Back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge. Safety car is in. Dylan McIvern controlling this restart on the front straightaway. Laps winding down here at Indy. Can Gar Robinson get the lead back? Shane Lewis breaks to the outside as they come down the front stretch.
Now Gar chose the opposite lane that Dylan did, got to his outside, got a big run. He's got an opportunity here, but Shane Lewis might put him 3 wide.
Tempting on the inside. Oh, McIvern under braking, goes sideways, a little bit of contact, but he holds the lead.
Dylan McIvern did a great job. You saw the tires locking up sideways into the brake zone, managed the corner, still has the lead.
Gets out of turn 1 a little better than Gar Robinson and adds a couple of car lengths to the advantage.
I love restarts. It packs everybody up.
Tony Bustamante with problems in the 34. There was contact on that restart, obviously. You can see the damage to the rear bodywork of the 34. Doesn't sound like he can get it in gear.
Well, we talked about that clutch problem, and obviously something happened on that restart. Not sure if it was from the damage or that clutch just giving out.
Tony Bustamante off course, but in a safe area to driver's right. Should be fine. Up onto the short chute here. McIvern leading, but a little puff of smoke. It's been there all day as he's upshifted.
Yeah, it seems like it's just a little bit of that raw fuel pouring out of the exhaust, kind of igniting there. Doesn't look like he's locking up the brakes. It just seems to be smoking on those downshifts.
Second spot belongs to Robinson. Third is his teammate Shane Lewis. Lawrence Loshak in fourth. Up onto the front stretch here. Time remaining at the top of your screen, less than 18 minutes. This one should end by lap count. 42 laps, 100 miles the distance today here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And a shout out to Cameron Lawrence after that early spin. He's gotten himself back into 6th.
Getting those most important points that he needs. Detroit was a tough race for him. He's got to get back in the fight for the championship.
No change among the top 3. McIvern remains your leader. Running order at the top of your screen. Tim Gray doing a nice job back in 15th spot. The veteran out of Minnesota. McIvern under heavy pressure now. Gar Robinson's car seems to come in a little bit after that restart.
And Gar was so fast early in this race. We saw him stretch out that lead. Dylan had a little bit of a problem that last corner. Swung wide, gave Gar an opportunity.
Robinson taking a look to the inside. It's so tempting to try that dive bomb down into a corner, isn't it?
Absolutely, but when you have great drivers that are good on the brakes, good with the downshifts, you can't just sail off in there. That driver's already at the limit. If you don't have a run and you're not wheel to wheel or at least approaching to that point, making a move late in the brakes will cause an accident.
McIvern wiggles a little coming off the corner. You can tell how hard Dylan McIvern is pressing here, trying to win his first Trans Am 2 race since the opener in March at Sebring.
You see him sliding that car around, locking up the brakes, pushing hard. Gar is got the catbird seat right now. If he can keep that pressure up, I think he can pressure Dylan into a mistake.
And Shane Lewis back there in third from 26th on the grid. He's waiting for an opportunity to pounce maybe in the last few laps.
Shane Lewis is a veteran. He's waiting for those guys to get side by side and see if he has an opportunity to maybe snooker by both of them.
Atwell, Kurt Vogt back on the race course, and Prochuk in the 9 with a fight for position going on here late in the going. This is for 8th spot. Prochuk back in 10th there. He's got Vogt in front of him in 9th. Atwell in that yellow Chevrolet holds on to 8th.
And this is what I love about TA2. There is battles all over the field, not just for the lead, but for the top 10, 15. You're always racing somebody as hard as you can.
Remember, Keith Prochuk spun over in the first couple of turns on lap 1 when he was up in the top 6. So he has staged a nice drive to get back into the top 10 here and have an opportunity to gain a couple of more positions. That white Mustang, the 31, that's Elias Anderson from Driftwood, Texas, first timer with us this season, turning in a nice ride. He sits 11th.
Putting in a solid run. Like you said, not a lot of TA2 experience. Today, he's getting it done.
Vogt to the inside of Atwell's machine. That is for 8th, and Kurt Vogt makes the pass. Now remember, he was involved in contact earlier. Nice recovery.
And the restart really helps that. You get everybody bunched up. If you had a good car, now you're racing somebody, you're racing hard for position, and that's what I love about the cautions. I know some guys didn't want to see it, but it really intensified the end of this race.
So Vogt in the 23, Atwell in the 02, 8th and 9th in play as they come up onto the straightaway. Lead battle, meantime, down in turns 1 and 2. Still McIvern in the black 24 car. The two 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolets of Gar Robinson, Shane Lewis running 2nd and 3rd. Again, a battle between the chassis manufacturers here. The 24 car, that's a Mike Cope chassis out of Florida. The Howe chassis cars out of Michigan running 2nd and 3rd. Those are the Robinson Racing entries.
And we see how close the racing is, but that's because the series has done a great job of managing the different manufacturers, the different chassis. These cars are very evenly matched.
Gar Robinson trying to get the lead back, and momentarily at least he does it. McIvern and Robinson side by side, and Lewis right there. 3 cars under a blanket. And Gar Robinson elbows his way past McIvern. Robinson back to the lead. toward the short chute here at Indy, between turns 1 and 2 of the oval. Then you've got that hard right-hander again.
And you see Dylan pushing hard in that brake zone, just missing his apex. Oh!
Shane Lewis with a brief bobble. Lewis makes a slight mistake. You hardly ever see that from him, and gives up several car lengths.
And McEvern right here is trying to stay close to guard, get that draft down the straightaway, maybe take another shot at him going into turn 1.
Remember that McEvern made a bold inside move to take the lead back a few laps ago. Let's check in on that battle for position with Prochuk there and Anderson in the 31. Back around 10th and 11th position. Atwell is 8th. Matt Parent now 9th in the 14, and Prochuk 10th. Matt Parent with a nice recovery after going off course earlier. Here comes Prochuk to the inside to take 9th back.
And late in the brake zone there, he pulled out very late in the brakes, was able to pull it off. Nice clean pass.
And Elias Anderson in that Ford, the 31, very impressive in his debut. One of the biggest stories in Trans Am racing this season, the arrival of Pirelli as the official tire and presenting sponsor. TA2, a big question mark coming in. Those were bias ply tires in use here earlier. Drivers love the new radials.
The Pirelli tire has been awesome this year. It really elevated the level of competition this year, and overall it's a much more consistent tire, which makes for closer racing.
Well, the older tires, they wore, so it was another factor that you had to take into account throughout a race. So that was kind of my stronghold, and so now that's a little bit tarnished there, but no, they stay pretty consistent, and you can run them hard for a pretty long time. All in all, I think it's a good tire, and we're happy to be running on them.
I come from vintage racing, so we're always on bias ply tires. So the old tire was very different, but this tire really works well. It's got a ton of grip. It's a lot of fun to drive, and it still acts a little bit like a bias ply tire. So you can slide the car around, you can still have a lot of fun, but it's a lot of grip. It's a great tire.
That was the goal for Pirelli when they arrived in Trans Am in the offseason and through the winter, developing a tire that would be very similar to the previous bias plies. For second spot, Shane Lewis with a move to the inside.
Timed it perfectly, got that run down the long Indianapolis front straightaway, side by side banging wheels.
McEvern, though, establishes second on the outside with a great move. McEvern saying, hey, I'm not having any of this. I'm not going to give up another spot here.
Absolutely. Getting to the closing stages, fighting hard, tooth and nail. Oh, little lap traffic here might set up a pass.
Lewis to the inside around the lap car, the 10 machine. That's Carlo Falcone from Antigua, of all places, making his first start of the season in that Ford Mustang. Lewis, meantime, did a great job to get to the inside of the lap car in the middle of the corner there.
It was dicey moments for both of those drivers right there, splitting the lap car. Shane Lewis over the curb on the inside. Very tight battle.
Didn't give up much momentum. He's right up on the back deck lid of McEvern. All of this helping the 74 of Robinson. If you're the leader, you see this going on in your rearview mirror, you've got to be excited.
This is what you want to see. You want to see those guys battling hard, stretching out that lead, just hitting your marks, not having that pressure. Don't make any mistakes.
74 Ranch Resort team of George Robinson, Guy Robinson, Shane Lewis, the drivers, looking on from pit road with the stopwatches, keeping an eye on their two drivers. McEvern getting settled back in second spot, but the white flag is in the air. 1 to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. McEvern needs some help.
Absolutely. I don't think that Shane Lewis has a shot of getting him into turn 1 here. He's going to have to set up this pass coming off of turn 4.
Robinson with about a 7-car length advantage over McEvern in the black 24. The 72 of Shane Lewis running in third. They have stretched it out over the rest of the field here. Lawrence Loshak in fourth. Cameron Lawrence back to fifth. Adam Andretti, Kurt Vogt seventh, as you see your running order at the top of your screen. We'll see what Shane Lewis can possibly do here with McEvern down the backstretch.
Dylan McEvern timed that just right. Got a great launch off the corner. Shane Lewis not close enough right now.
Robinson uncontested for the lead. Lewis will take a look to the inside. Can he outbreak the 24? Leans on McEvern's Ford. McEvern right back at him, though. Side by side on the backside of the road course here at Indy.
It doesn't get much better than that. Wheel to wheel, both drivers pushing to the max, not giving each other an inch, and you see Dylan McEvern still ahead of Shane Lewis.
Up onto the short chute here at Indy, heading to turn 13 and 14. The checkered flag will wave this time by. The fight is for second. Lewis all over the back deck lid of the 24 car. Pushing the youngster McIvern. McIvern, the winner of the season opener, trying to hang on for second here at the Speedway. Gar Robinson is your winner of the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge. McIvern will hang on for second over Lewis. What a battle for second spot.
I know Shane Lewis wanted that second spot, but how about Gar Robinson staying cool under pressure when he lost the lead, gaining it back from Dylan McIvern, getting the checkered flag?
That's one of the measuring sticks for a young racer, I think. Can you recover if you give up a spot or give up the race lead? For Gar Robinson, the answer is yes, our winner at Indianapolis.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Three Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge is in the books. Gar Robinson is your winner to victory lane and Ashley Van Dyke.
Race winner Gar Robinson just pulling into victory lane, elated in joy as he is your winner here in Indy. Gar, what happened out there? Dylan took the lead for a minute. You were able to get it back. Tell us what happened.
We just won Indy. No, Dylan fought really hard. You won Indy, man. Nice. No, Dylan fought really, really hard. I always love racing the guy. Me and him both have the same mentor, Terry Earwood, and our racing habits are both about the same. So I have trust in him that no one's going to put any wheels wrong, and that's always really nice whenever you have to race someone like that.
The racing was very close there at the end. Were you worried?
A little bit. The track's really hard to pass on. There's not a lot of chances, and you just got to wait for someone to make a mistake. It's just Indy, man. It's stuff that people dream about. This is awesome.
Gar Robinson wins at Indy and is leaving here your points leader, Rick.
Gar's third win of the young season, second in a row after taking the honors at Detroit. His dad George there with him in victory lane. Robinson defeating Dylan McIvern and Shane Lewis. That was a great fight with McIvern.
It was a great battle for the lead, a great battle watching Shane Lewis come through the field. Lots of side-by-side action.
So Dylan McIvern rebounding after a frustrating weekend at Detroit a couple of weeks back where he had a mechanical issue, ended up 15th. He's downstairs with Ashley.
Dylan McIvern, you had your hands full out there the entire race. It got really tight there at the end. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy race here at Indy. There's so much history here, and it's just awesome to be here racing Trans Am. The ranch cars are always fast, man. They always give up a good fight, and yeah, I kind of got gapped a little bit there. At the start, I was trying to save my tires because it was so hot out here, but after the restart, those Pirelli tires come right back, and the car was actually better than it was at the start, so I kind of had a little something for Gar. He's just had a little better car than I did today, and lap traffic kind of separated us on the last couple laps there, but ended up having an awesome battle with Shane. I'm sure that made for some good TV, but yeah, I really got to thank the Mike Cope guys for giving me an awesome car. It's really great to be back on the podium after a disappointing Detroit race. Got to thank my parents, my father especially on Father's Day. I don't think he knows how much I appreciate the opportunities that he gives me. I don't say it enough, but love you, Dad. Thank you.
Racing is a family sport, and obviously Dylan got his dad a podium finish today.
His dad always at the racetrack with Dylan McIvern, second in the championship now by 13 markers to Gar Robinson. Shane Lewis third in the points chase. He was third here today at Indy as well. Ashley Van Dyke has caught up with our third place finisher.
Shane Lewis started 26, scratched your way up to podium. Shane, what was your race like today?
I had more fun than anybody else out there, positively. I don't think I've dug and worked that hard in a race in I don't remember how long. The guys, from Detroit, we had some issues with Detroit. We'll just leave it at that. Start in the back of the pack. I've never been this motivated. From the moment we rolled off, like every single session, I wanted it bad. And it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. To have two Robinson racing cars on the podium is incredible. To have my teammate Gar Robinson win Indy is great. It was a fantastic experience all overall, absolutely.
Congratulations, first and third place for Robinson Racing in Indy.
Shane Lewis, a Pros Pro, 26 to 3rd, Michael.
They
McDowell.
put on a show for us and all the fans there in Indianapolis.
Wild action in TA2, the Indianapolis Muscle Car Challenge to Gar Robinson. For Michael McDowell, Ashley Van Dyke, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for joining us for Trans Am here on CBS Sports Network.